In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 NFL games happening on November 30th, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 NFL games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. New Orleans Saints versus Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins enter this home date with a chance to stretch their run of 2 straight wins into a third. Even that brief climb stands taller than anything New Orleans has managed. The Saints have struggled so much that their season feels like a long attempt to name a problem that keeps widening. Their 2 wins came against a Giants team that turned the ball over 5 times and a Carolina team hurt by poor quarterback play. Their most recent effort was a 24-10 loss at home to Atlanta. They ran for 79 yards on 28 carries against a soft rushing unit and finished with an average of 3.8 yards per play. Miami arrives in a strong position. The team has momentum, rest, and home field. Left for dead at 1-6, the Dolphins revived their season by winning 3 of their last 4. During that stretch, Tua Tagovailoa produced a 6-3 touchdown-to-interception ratio, which has been a clear improvement from his 11-10 mark in his first 7 games. Recent form shows a gap between these defenses. The Saints have allowed 22.8 points in their last 5 outings. The Dolphins have allowed 16 in their previous 4. New Orleans holds a record of 3-8 against the spread, while Miami holds a 6-5 mark. Miami has taken 3 wins in its last 4 games. New Orleans has dropped 5 of its last 6. The Dolphins have played with more rhythm on offense. Their ground game has come alive, and they now meet a defense that has struggled to slow down rushing attacks. Their plan should lean on the run. The visiting side has one of the weakest ground games in the league. They pass more than they would like, and little suggests they can tilt the game with their rushing attack. Miami can load up on pressure and push the opposing quarterback into errors. The Saints have had a difficult season. They sit with 2 wins and have continued issues against the spread with a 3-8 mark. They face a Miami team that has won 3 of its last 4 and scores 5.5 points per game more than New Orleans. Only one team in the league has produced fewer points than the Saints. The situation supports the home team, which has found better balance and better form. As our first pick for this matchup, the Miami Dolphins to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The total presents another pattern. The under sits at 6-0-1 across the last 7 New Orleans games because the offense has stalled. They have topped 20 points only twice, and those 2 efforts reached 21 and 26. Their last 5 games produced point totals of 14, 3, 10, 17, and 10. Their rookie quarterback has been steady but limited, posting 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in 4 starts with a QBR of 41.3. The defense has held up. It ranks 9th against the pass and allows 4.0 yards per carry. Tagovailoa has improved, but his receiving group has lost punch. Jalen Waddle has shown flashes, but has been in a WR1 role that does not fit him, with Tyreek Hill out for the season. The matchup sets up 2 offenses that must grind for yards. New Orleans has hit the under in 7 straight games. Miami has done the same in its last 4. The Saints average 15 points per game and lean on the pass 60% of the time with the 20th ranked passing unit. Miami ranks 12th against the pass and allows 24.5 points per game. The Dolphins average 20.5 points per game and pass 58% of the time with the 26th ranked passing attack. New Orleans ranks 9th against the pass and allows 24.9 points per game. The last 2 meetings between the teams also finished under. The trend points toward a low-scoring affair. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. San Francisco 49ers versus Cleveland Browns. The San Francisco 49ers and the Cleveland Browns meet Sunday at Huntington Bank Field for an American Football Conference against National Football Conference matchup. Their last meeting came in 2023 when Cleveland won by 2 points as a home underdog, getting 8.5. The setting now is similar, with the home team again cast as the dog. They enter this one after a dramatic win last week. San Francisco is a different class of opponent than Las Vegas, so Cleveland steps into a far tougher test. San Francisco arrives with clear room to sharpen a few areas from its game against Carolina. The 3 interceptions and the modest 193 passing yards stand out, yet the overall performance remains strong. The defense held Carolina to 230 total yards, 12 first downs, 1 of 7 on third down, and 69 rushing yards while collecting 2 interceptions. It marked the 4th straight game in which San Francisco cleared 20 points, and the output could have been higher. Cleveland enters after a solid win over a struggling Las Vegas team. The Browns finished with 8 penalties in a loose game with 21 total flags. They turned the ball over twice, produced 11 first downs, and converted 3 of 12 on third down. Their defense generated a lost fumble, allowed 60 rushing yards, held the Raiders to 3.6 yards per play, limited them to 19 first downs, and held them to 4 of 17 on third down. It was Cleveland's highest point total at 24 since scoring 31 against Miami on October 19. It also marked their first win since that outing. Cleveland now faces a far more complete roster. Cleveland's best path lies with its defense, yet the challenge is steep. Their top edge threat must take on one of the league's most stable offensive lines. San Francisco has given up only 19 sacks, so cleaner pockets reduce Purdy's risk of errors. San Francisco will ask its lead back to shoulder the load, and the matchup allows him room to do that. San Francisco has been the stronger team with more than double the wins of Cleveland, and they have handled road environments well, taking 5 of their 8 wins away from home. San Francisco is 3-1-0 both straight up and against the spread in its last 4. Cleveland is 2-6-0 in its last 8. Cleveland has the 4th worst offense in the league. San Francisco has been the steadier road team and has shown better output in most phases. As our first pick for this matchup, the San Francisco 49ers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Cleveland sits near the bottom of the league on offense, averaging 16.9 points per game, which ranks 29th. They will lean on defense to slow San Francisco, which has scored 20 points or fewer in 3 of the 4 games started by Purdy. Both teams allow fewer than 22 points per game, and the current total stands at 36.5. Cleveland has allowed 17 points or fewer in 3 of 4 home games. The under sits at 2-2 in those games. The 2 overs came at a total of 34.5 against Miami, a 31-6 win, and a total of 38 against Baltimore, a 23-16 loss. Cleveland's last outing was a strong defensive effort against Las Vegas in a 24-10 win. Cleveland is 3-1-0 to the under when it holds teams to 17 or fewer. San Francisco is 3-1-0 to the under in Purdy's 4 starts, including the 20-9 win over Carolina last Monday. San Francisco is 5-1 to the over on the road, although Purdy accounts for only 1 of those overs. The game at Arizona 2 weeks ago. San Francisco's lowest total this season came in Week 2 at New Orleans. That game cleared 40.5 in a 26-21 win. Snow is possible in Cleveland and temperatures may fall into the mid-30s for kickoff. San Francisco's leadback faces a Cleveland run defense graded as the top unit by PFF. He has topped 80 rushing yards in 3 of the last 4 games and averages 63.8 on the road. Cleveland's defense ranks among the league's best. It pressures quarterbacks and creates takeaways. Purdy threw 3 interceptions last week against a weaker defense than Cleveland's. Cleveland can force mistakes and keep San Francisco out of the end zone. Cleveland starts Sanders for his 2nd career start. He will face growing pains while adjusting to the league's pace. Both offenses show inconsistency, and both defenses rank among the top 12 in points allowed. Rain is in the forecast and temperatures may stay in the 30s, which points to slow footing. Both teams can rely on their ground games. Their last meeting finished with 36 combined points. The under is 4-0-1 in the last 5 meetings. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Houston Texans versus Indianapolis Colts. The Texans started the season at 0-3, yet they now sit close behind Indianapolis in the division, and the meeting in Week 13 in Indianapolis carries real weight. Houston has won 6 of its last 8 and plays with steady confidence. Their defense set the tone in the Thursday night win over Buffalo in Week 3, where they produced 3 takeaways, held Buffalo to 4.9 yards per snap, and stacked up 8 sacks that pushed the Bills back by 70 yards. The extra rest from the Thursday game gives them more recovery time, while Indianapolis arrives after a draining loss in Kansas City. Before that, the Colts needed overtime to beat an Atlanta group that has struggled this season in Berlin. Their quarterback was sharp early in the year but has struggled in the last 3 games. The matchups tilt toward Houston's front, which relies on pressure from Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter, and that creates a difficult setting for the home quarterback. Houston leads the league in total defense at 264.3 yards per game and holds opponents to 16.5 points per contest. Their consistency on that side of the ball carries into any stadium. Indianapolis leans on Jonathan Taylor to set rhythm, but Houston's front ranks 5th against the run at 92.2 yards allowed. If Taylor fails to gain traction, Indianapolis must pass in clear throwing situations, and that favors Houston. With C.J. Stroud back in the lineup and Nico Collins anchoring the passing attack, the Texans have enough balance to keep the margin narrow. Indianapolis scores 31 points per game and leads the league in that category, but its pass defense ranks near the bottom at 245.4 yards allowed. That gives Houston room to attack through the air with Collins on the outside and Dalton Schultz inside. Indianapolis defends the run well, but Houston does not rely on heavy rushing volume. They work to avoid turnovers and let their defense shape the pace. Houston has taken the last 3 meetings, and 6 of the past 7 matchups have ended with margins of 4 points or fewer. The Texans enter this game with extra rest and with Stroud returning, which improves their passing outlook. Indianapolis comes off a draining overtime loss in Kansas City, where the stat sheet tilted against them even though the score stayed close. Taylor drives the Colts offense, and the team holds a record of 6-0 when he reaches 80 rushing yards, and 2-3 when he does not. Given Houston's strong run defense, Taylor faces a difficult task. The Colts also rank near the bottom in pass defense. That creates a friendlier landscape for a backup quarterback if needed. The underdog has covered in 5 of the last 6 meetings between these teams. As our first pick for this matchup, the Houston Texans to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Houston's defense remains strong, yet its offense lacks steady production. Joe Mixon has missed the entire season, Nick Chubb has not returned to form, and the run game relies on Woody Marks, who has limited impact. Houston may again need Davis Mills if Stroud stays in concussion protocol. Mills protects the ball, but does not bring much explosive upside. Taylor remains the main threat for Indianapolis, but Houston's run defense ranks 5th and held him to 66 yards from scrimmage against Kansas City. The Indianapolis quarterback has thrown 5 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions in his last 3 games. Houston owns the league's top total defense and held Buffalo to 19 points despite losing the yardage battle. Indianapolis produces explosive plays, yet Houston's front forces longer drives and cuts down big gains. With Stroud back and the Texans leaning on long possessions and turnover avoidance, both teams face a slower rhythm. Houston gives up only 16.5 points per game and ranks 1st in total yards allowed, including 172.1 passing yards and 92.2 rushing yards. Indianapolis leads the league in scoring at 31 points per game, but this marks one of its toughest defensive opponents. The Colts remain perfect at home, but they have dropped 2 of their last 3 games and now face a Texans team riding a 3-game streak. Both teams come off low-scoring games, with totals of 42 and 43 points. Last year they combined for 43. Houston averages 22.1 points and Indianapolis ranks top 10 in points allowed at 20.8. The matchup points toward a slow grind with limited scoring space. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Minnesota Vikings versus Seattle Seahawks. The Week 13 meeting between the Vikings and Seahawks looks lopsided on paper, and the gap in strength shows in almost every phase. Seattle did not cover as a double-digit favorite against the Titans a week ago, but that game shifted only after Seattle eased off in the second half, which let Tennessee close the margin. Seattle stayed in control throughout that contest, and the same structure applies when they face a Minnesota team still searching for a steady hand at quarterback. Max Brosmer steps in for J.J. McCarthy this week. His presence might raise the ceiling of the Minnesota passing game, but the matchup works against him. Seattle fields a defense ranked in the top 5 in EPA per play and success rate allowed. Injuries have hit parts of the lineup, but the group held an elite Rams offense in check on the road several weeks ago. That performance supports confidence in their approach against a Minnesota offense that has stalled. On the other side, the Vikings' defense has slipped in recent weeks. Those issues grow when they go on the road to face a Seattle passing game that has found rhythm behind Sam Darnold. Seattle owns twice as many wins as Minnesota and sits at 5-1 both straight up and against the spread across its last 6 games. Minnesota sits at 1-5 in both categories across the same span. The point differential splits them further, with the Vikings at -2.8 and Seattle at +9.8. Turnovers shape both teams. Seattle has committed 20 turnovers and sits at -7 in turnover margin. Minnesota has turned the ball over 21 times and sits at -12. McCarthy has not shown that he can steady the Vikings offense, and the unit has sputtered for most of the season. Seattle enters in firm form on both sides of the ball. The Vikings continue to struggle on offense and now travel into a difficult environment against a defense built to pressure mistakes. It is the first time Minnesota enters as a double-digit underdog since 2022. They have failed to cover in 5 of their last 6 games as an underdog. Seattle sits at 8-3 against the spread this season, tied with the Rams for the best mark in the league. Seattle has covered 6 of its last 8 games when favored and has won its last 5 as a favorite by an average margin of 13.6 points. Seattle brings one of the league's strongest scoring offenses and defenses into a home game against an undrafted rookie making his first start. Minnesota's best trait, a fast pass rush, often fades if the opponent stays ahead on the scoreboard. If the game tilts early, the score can grow fast for Minnesota. As our first pick for this matchup, the Seattle Seahawks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Minnesota has gone over the total in 7 of 11 games. They have gone over in 5 of 6 road games, with last week at Lambeau Field as the lone under. Seattle has gone over in 7 of 11 games. 4 of Seattle's 5 home games have reached the over, including each of the last 4. Seattle has scored at least 27.7 times and matches up with a Minnesota defense that has started to fray. Seattle has already hit 41 points in 2 of 5 home games. Their team total has gone over in 4 of 5 home dates and can do so again if Minnesota finds any scoring at all. The Vikings defense now grades poorly in expected points added per pass allowed across the last 6 weeks. Green Bay exposed their blitz-heavy scheme a week ago. Even with their coordinator's familiarity with Darnold, Seattle has handled the blitz well all season. Rosemer might give Minnesota slight improvement in the passing game, and late scores can raise the total, similar to what happened in Tennessee a week ago. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.